Anyways, so I just want to say, first and foremost, if you're my mom, stop watching right now. Okay, now that she's girl, I know you're still here. It's time to. I know you have better things to watch than this, and I just don't want to give you a heart attack. Anyways, today is going to be a story time because I feel like I have a lot of juicy story times, but there is something a little more secretive about doing it through ASMR because I feel like my family doesn't watch my ASMR, so I can be a little more truthful, if you know what I mean. Anyways, let's get into it. I also want to preface to all the women out there, I'm sorry for being a dumb bitch in this story and really just like giving us a bad rap because, well, you'll find out. Alright, so this was during my senior year of college. I'm now a graduate. I'm now an alum. I don't think that's fully hit me yet. But anyways, this was my senior year of college, so only a couple months ago. I'm not that old, alright? My girlfriends and I, we live in Tempe, Arizona, which is the main area that all of the college kids live. But we like to hit up Scottsdale every once in a while because their clubs are on another level. It's more just like the men there actually have money so they can buy you drinks. The men in Tempe, they're all broke, as am I. But like, you really can't finesse many drinks here because it's all, they ain't got much to them, you know what I mean? My girlies and I were getting ready to go out to Scottsdale and we were going to hit the clubs that night. And so we get ready. It's me and 3 of my roommates. You've probably seen them in a bunch of my videos, but me and my girlies were getting ready for the club. We're about to go out and we pre-gamed a little bit just because showing up to the club sober, very daring of you, but it's doable. Throughout the semester, we had a little bit of a system. So the only thing we would bring to the club is our ID. We didn't bring any sort of debit card, credit card, because we didn't want to be tempted into buying our own drinks. We wanted to have to work for it. Okay. Ladies, that's a tip. It also gives you a little something to do. It's like a task. It gives you like a fun little activity throughout the night to see how many men you can finesse for a drink. So don't bring your cards, leave them at home, and that way you don't have to worry about losing it either. Anyways, so we're about to head to the club, didn't bring our cards, didn't bring anything, so we're like, alright, tonight's the night we finesse. I mean, it's every night, but tonight was the night. So we get to Old Town, and we go to the first club, and the minute we get there, we are struggling, because it's a Saturday night, and all the hotties are out, so like, all the men at the table had already filled their tables, so they didn't need anybody really. So we're standing there, me and 3 of my girlfriends were standing there, and I'm like, you know what, this is not as fun as I thought it would be. We'd probably been there for about 30 minutes, and there wasn't a free drink in sight. So I was like, you know what, maybe we should just go home. We have alcohol back at home. We could just have like a little girls' night, turn up in the apartment, as we usually do. But my roommate, Anjali, was like, you know what, no, like, we came all the way out here. We Ubered all the way up here. It's like a 20-minute Uber ride. Why don't we just stick it out and see where the night goes? Let's give it like 10 minutes max. So I was like, all right, 10 minutes. That's all we got. But then an angel sent from heaven came down upon us, aka the security guard. So one of the security guards approaches me and he's like, hey, do you guys want a table? And I was like, Duh. Sorry. I didn't mean to go into my normal vocal tone, alright? I'm like, yeah, I want a table. And so he's like, alright, you guys follow me. So we follow him to a table. And the way this club is set up is half of it's outside, half is inside. And then, so this table was on the outside, right next to the line to get in. And at this table are 3 men, completely alone. So I look at the security guard and I was like, are you sure this is safe? And he was like, yeah, no worries. Like, I'll stand here and I'll keep an eye on you. Like, trust me, you're fine. But just to be sure, I'll stand here and watch you guys. And I was like, cool, all right. Keep in mind, the security guard was very cute. So obviously I was flirting a little bit, but I was like, I'll come back to this. So we walk up to the table and introduce ourselves. And these three guys are probably in their late 20s, early 30s, like a little older than us. And immediately they brought out a tray. And it was like a square tray. And there was 5 holes by 5 holes in the tray. So 25 holes total. I know math. And in each hole was a shot. 25 shots for 7 people. I don't know that math. So they bring out the shots and we immediately take a bunch because we're like, we've been deprived. I mean, it's been 30 minutes, let's be real. But it felt good to get something in me after being in the club sober for a while. So as we're sitting at this table, we start to talk to these guys and kind of get to know them. And actually, surprisingly, they weren't creepy. They were actually very genuinely nice. And the one guy that I was talking to, he was a bigger fellow, probably about 350 pounds. But he had a very comforting aura to him where I just felt safe being around him. But I was talking to him, and this is where things get a little sus. So we're at the table, we're all chatting away, we're taking shots, and I'm talking to this guy, the bigger one. I'm going to call the heavyset man Paul. So I'm talking to Paul, and we just get to catching up, and he's like, where are you from? And I told him, I'm a student, I go to ASU. And I was like, what do you do for a living? And he's like, I sell candy. And in the moment, I didn't think it was very suspicious. But then I got to talking to one of my other roommates, and she said that he told her he sold software. Something's not adding up here. And obviously his profession was one that he couldn't be like super upfront about, I guess. I don't know. I think it was code for drugs. I don't know. Can I even spell that on YouTube? Drugs. Don't demonetize me, YouTube. Thanks. It's not a bad word. You could be like, Tylenol is a drug. So then he gets to telling me that they're not actually from Arizona and that they live in California and that they were driving down to Texas and Arizona was kind of like a pit stop. And I didn't really question it. I was like, oh, cool. Like, that's a long drive. And he was like, yeah, we would fly, but I have several warrants out for my arrest. What? Paul, come again. So, but here's the thing. As scary as it might seem to hear that, I still didn't really care. He just had a very, nice energy to him, and I didn't feel threatened at all. So, I mean, looking back, it was probably a bad idea, but whatever. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm still living. I'm still breathing. So, in the moment, I was just kind of like, damn, you crazy for that. But now I'm like, wow, he really is crazy for that. So, then the night progresses, and we keep taking shots and getting more drunk, basically. So, as we're sitting at this table, I noticed that one of my roommates, who rarely drinks, is getting lit. Like Liddy McTitty off that bitty. Like, this girl was going wild. So I was like, alright, it's one of those nights. Like I said, it was that night. It was the night. If you know what the night is, you know what the night is. If you don't, you don't. But, it was one of those nights. We're sitting at this table, and I'm still talking to Paul, and my roommates are just talking to the other guys. And they just had a very good energy to them. I'm telling you, they weren't creepy. They weren't weird. Typically, if you walk up to a table at a club and it's all men, we're the ladies. Why can't you get any ladies? Why don't the ladies like you? But I guess there's exceptions to everything. So we're sitting there talking, chatting, yada, yada, yada. And as I mentioned before, the table is outside, right next to the line to get into the club. So I look over, and I see this man in line, and he was very attractive. I guess I was on one back then. And we kind of make eye contact. We're making eyes at each other, and he makes his way over to me, and he's like, hey. So we start chatting it up, flirting, whatever. And as we're talking, this woman comes into our conversation. And I know this lady. I've seen her many times. She walks around Old Town. That's the club district in Scottsdale. It's called Old Town. She walks around Old Town selling roses to people, to drunk people. Because, I mean, honestly, smart move. Like, drunk people are horny and looking for love. Let's be real. The majority of the time. So, roses. Great. As this conversation's going on, she kind of butts in and she's like, hey, do you want to buy roses? Do you want to buy roses? And I was like, oh, no, I'm okay. But the guy in line was like, I got you, girl. So homeboy buys me a rose. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Do you want to come sit at our table when you come inside? Mind you, this is not my table. I did not pay for it. And I'm just inviting random people to come sit with us because they bought me a rose. Like he knew what he was doing. But I'm like, damn, where are my manners? But that's the thing. The guys at the table were so chill that when the guy came in and, you know, I invited him to come sit at the table, they were like, yeah, come on in, come sit. You know, one thing leads to another and we start making out. And one of the funniest parts, though, was the fact that I think in that moment I was, like, aligned in my mind with my roommate. Because as I'm making out with this guy, I stop and I look to see kind of my surroundings. And my roommate is doing the exact same thing, making out with one of the guys from the table. And at that moment, we both kind of, like, looked at each other and we were just like, and then continued doing the nast. I mean, making out isn't the nast, but you know what I mean. So, this isn't even the worst part. After that, you know, I keep flirting with this guy, whatever, and then I kind of lost him throughout the night because things started to get a little blurry. That's a good trigger word. Blurry. And, mind you, the security guard is still watching. So I was like, damn it. I think I might have ruined my chances with this man's. But throughout the night, he was so kind, and he would literally walk us to the bathroom to make sure that we got there safe. I was like, bless this man's heart. The end of the night rolls around. We are many a shots deep, and it's around 2 a.m., so the club is about to close. Because the club was about to close, we said our farewells to the nice men who gave us the shots on the table. And as we're walking out of the club, it's all of my roommates are walking, and then I'm the last one. I'm behind them. And as we're walking out, I was like, oh, I need to make my move on this security guard. So as we're walking out, I turned to him and I was like, oh, thank you, like, for setting us up at the table, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, yeah, for sure. Like, you guys definitely need to come more often. Like, it was good to see you. And so obviously I'm, like, flirting it up. And, you know, he was reciprocating. So I was like, okay. 2 for 1. It's one of those nights. Just kidding. Mom, I swear to God, if you're watching this, click off. So we keep talking, and he's like, well, you know, let me get your Snapchat, and, like, I'll hit you up on the nights that I'm working, or we can go out sometime, whatever. So I give him my Snapchat, and I'm like, goal achieved. My goal for the night was achieved, because even though my mind was everywhere else, at the man in the line, at the shots, that security guard was always in the back, just chilling. He was chilling on the couch, feet up, reclined, just waiting. But I remembered. So, mind you, while I'm being a little hoe and talking to the security guard, my friends didn't realize that I didn't follow them out. So I walk out of the club probably 5 minutes after they get out. And they are nowhere to be found. And the way that Old Town is set up is the clubs are all on the same street. And so typically on, like, Friday and Saturday nights, they just close off the entire street because they know the people are going to be walking around and that it's probably dangerous for cars to be around. I'm walking in the middle of the street and I'm like, oh shit, where are my friends? Like, I lost all of them. So I'm looking around, I don't see anybody, I'm calling all of them, I'm texting them, and I'm getting no response. And you might think, Serena, just Uber home. Here's the thing, the Ubers from Old Town, especially on a Saturday night, range anywhere from $50 to $80. And you think, I can afford that. I don't even bring my card to the club because I don't want to tempt myself to buy one drink if I can't afford one drink. You think I can afford an Uber? Girl, no. So it was time to get resourceful. So as I'm wandering the streets looking around, this man sees me and he's like, "You look lost. Like, what's going on, girl?" And I was like, "I am Gary. I am so lost right now. I can't find my friends. I don't know where any of them went, and I am alone outside the club looking like a mess." And so we get to talking, and he was actually very nice, very friendly. Here's the thing though, I may seem naive for thinking that everybody is nice and friendly, but I feel like I have a very good intuition, and that night, everybody genuinely was very nice and friendly, because trust me, I am not one to trust random strangers like that, and I feel like I rarely give people the benefit of the doubt and kind of assume the worst in people. But this night, something was in the air. What month was it? I think it was like Libra season or something. I don't know. Something in the air. So anyways, I get to talking to this guy and I was like, yeah, I can't find my friends, yada yada, catching him up on the whole thing. And so we get to talking and he was like, listen, well, where do you live? And I was like, oh, I live in Tempe. And he was like, all right, I don't want to sound like weird or anything, but I live in South Tempe and I drove here so I could just give you a ride home if you'd like. And you know what I said? Oh, fuck yes. I will take that ride, Gary. I will take it all day, every day. Well, actually, maybe just that day, because now looking back, I don't know if I would do that. But he seemed nice and trustworthy. And I actually, in my drunken state, I was like, well, listen, show me your ID and let me take a picture of it in case you try to kill me. So I'm going to try to insert the picture. Because the funny thing is you can't see the ID or his face at all. It's all like completely black because it was dark out. So the picture was useless. But I just thought it was funny that I was like, hey, in case you try to kill me, I'm going to take a picture of this. So we get in his car and I still haven't heard from my friends. I'm like, damn, where are these hoes? But my mind was quickly distracted by the fact that he started playing Leave the Door Open by Silk Sonic. You know damn well I was sitting in the stranger's car, belting the lyrics. If you feel the way I feel and you want me like I want you tonight, baby, tell me that you're coming through. Ooh, you're so sweet, so tight, I won't bite, unless you like. And I think he got a good chuckle out of it because I didn't hold back. I think I was like 10 years of singing in elementary school choir, college choir, high school. This is the moment that I've been waiting for. So I'm just having a little karaoke sesh in his car, and which might have been a little dumb because I wasn't even paying attention to the fact, like, is he actually taking me home? Or am I being abducted right now? I didn't even think about that, to be honest. At this point, my one roommate, Tree, finally calls me back. And the minute I answer, she's like, bitch, where are you? And I was like, I'm in an Uber. Just kidding. I found this random man to give me a ride home. And she was like, okay. We were all pretty lit, so our minds just weren't thinking through things, I guess. But turns out my other roommate got very drunk. So they took her to a pizza place. And that's where they met this man who bought them a full-size pizza and an Uber home, which my roommate then threw up in, and it charged $120 to the Uber. So he ended up paying for like a $200 Uber. So they ended up getting a free Uber, a $200 free Uber out of this man, and a whole-ass pizza. And he didn't even go with. Men, I'm sorry, but that's why you don't buy strangers Ubers home. Come on, Gare. You should know better. Unless it's me, I'll take a free Uber any day. So, getting back to me in the car. So I'm in the front seat, singing the words, whatever. And finally we get to my place. So he pulled the whole thing where he's like, oh, are you trying to invite me up? And I was like, no. I know I was singing about leaving the door open, but my shit is closed, locked, and sealed. You ain't coming in, Gare. So I was like, no. But you know what? I'm so tired right now. Just hit me up tomorrow and we can hang out. Because I felt like I had to give him something. for giving me a ride home. So I was like, you know what? Tomorrow, guys, a word of advice. If a girl truly likes you, she will hang out with you in that moment, in that night. If she puts it off to any other time, she ain't interested. Like, I think of the guys that I've really liked, and I will bend over backwards to hang out with them. But in this case, I'm gonna make an excuse and then just not text back, which is so bad. I was gonna say I'm trying to be better, but I'm really not. Guys, I'm an Aries. Sometimes these tendencies come out in me, you know? So, brings me back to my place. I'm like, no, but I'll hit you up tomorrow. Thanks for the ride. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Good night. So I made it safely back up to my apartment, and my roommates came about 30 minutes later, where they then had to shower my other roommate because she had yak all over her. So it was quite an eventful night for everybody. But the next day, I get a single text from him, and it was just a little clip of the Silk Sonic music video. And there was no caption. He didn't send a text or anything. It was just a little clip of the music video. And I thought that was a cute gesture, so I did. I was like, oh my gosh, thanks for the ride again. Like, love Silk Sonic, Bruno Mars, let's go. But I never said anything after that. But then he tried to hang out, and I was like, I have no excuse. I had no excuse. I just didn't say anything back. So that was my story time. It was an eventful ass night, and I am lucky to be alive because I could have been abducted so easily and like put in, because so many things could have gone wrong that night, and I could be in somebody's basement right now locked up. So ladies, I mean, I know you already know this, you all are intelligent, but don't take a ride from strangers no matter how drunk you are. Pay the $80 Uber. That being said, I came out of that night not having spent a cent. I feel like there should be a show that's kind of like extreme couponers, but like extreme cheapskates in a way, or like people who know how to finesse things really well, like come clubbing with me and not spend a cent. Like, I can show you all the ropes. I'll show you all the ropes. You ain't spending a penny if you're with me. So yeah, that's my story. Don't do what I did. I'm gonna have many dumb bitch moments, but I won't do that again. I hope. So, hope you guys enjoyed this little story time. Don't judge me. Or do. I don't care. Do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do in your mind to make you feel good. So, if you want more of this, let me know, because I have many story times. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one.